Hello, live watchers, later watchers, and watchers who are coming in on the internet. I am Hadassah Damien from Bride Fee Fearless Money, and I'm going to do quickly tonight something special for freelancers. Now, here's what we know about being a freelancer. Figuring out the money, it could be a little bit easier. Am I right, freelancer friends? One of the hardest things about figuring out our freelance money is not invoicing our clients. That's hard. It's not setting our rates. That can also be challenging. It's not even necessarily knowing what's in our bank account. You can usually just look that up. No, what's kind is actually just knowing what's going to happen next month. And even more, what of what's going to happen next month, go ahead and put in my bank account and spend on whatever I got to spend money on. But I'm going to show you a relatively simple way to get that information, not just for right now, which it's most helpful for, but to be able to set some of your expectations for next year and next time around. Because that, my freelancer hustler friends, is where it begins. What is going to happen next year? Because once we start knowing that, then you're able to start doing the magical planning ahead. So I'm going to hop on over to a screen share, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this in just a few minutes. But first, a little bit about me. Again, my name's Hadassah Damien. I'm part of an organization that is called Ride Free Fearless Money, and part of the reason it started Ride Free Fearless Money is because I've spent many, many years working in many kinds of side hustles. I have made cash, I have made checks, I have made money coming in from all over the place, 1099s, no 1099s. What am I supposed to do with this? I'm just trying to get paid. And even more importantly, I'm just trying to pay my rent and take care of all my business. It shouldn't be this hard. Freelancers, I feel you. I really, really feel you. So let's talk about how we make the money make a little more sense, because I know that you all have better things to do with your time than be messing around with checks. You need to know what's coming so you can go get your clients and keep doing what you're good at. So let's make this happen. Let me just bring in a spreadsheet. Now, there are all kinds of ways that you can make your freelance money make a little more sense. This is one that I really, really like because it is simple, simple, simple. Now, you're going to have to come up with a few numbers ahead of time. But once you come up with that, this sheet's going to, and the best, it is free. Free, free, free. So if you want to go ahead and grab this, I'm going to put a link in the event in a little bit so that you can grab the spreadsheet for free. But let me show you how it works. So I'm over here in row 8. And in row 8, what we think is actually happening. So we're not getting like visionary for next year. We're just trying to say what really is going on. Not just the money that's coming in, but what's really, really going on with the money I can take out. So my example here for 2017 is for somebody who maybe has a side hustle that makes $1,000 a month. Maybe you're a massage therapist. Maybe you drive Uber. Maybe you, you're like a nanny sometimes, right? Say that you're like, okay, I'm going to guesstimate. Sometimes it can be hard to know what comes in, but you can also look into your bank account, start keeping track, writing it down, right? Estimate, guesstimate, or put in the exact amount of all the money that came in for the last year. So if you made $1,000 a month, that would be $12,000. When we're freelancers, that we're not going to pay taxes on all that money. Why? Because in order to spend money, make money, you have to spend money. So you're going to put in, that's your best estimate, guesstimate of all the money you have to spend over the course of the year. So say that my, nanny, Uber driver, massage therapist who makes $1,000 a month knows that they spend a little over for their cell phone, for stuff they need for their business, et cetera, et cetera. So they put in $2,500 here. They're like, all right, a little more than 200 bucks a month times 12 is 2,500. We also know that over the course of the year, a couple times, we'll often have to buy something bigger. So it might not be like a monthly expense. It might just be like a sometimes or other expense. I totally feel you. Maybe this person is like, I'm going to commit to putting 500 bucks a year into a pre-tax retirement plan. Or maybe you're like, I had to buy a really nice new camera to take photos for my, massage therapist website. Maybe this person's like, all right, I'm going to put $1,000 a year into my retirement out of this money. Oops, not that. Great. So here in your like annual one-off costs or retirement, you're like, okay, if I put in $1,000. Now we start doing our estimation. This is where the sheet comes in really, really helpful. It says, okay, well, if you made $12,000, but you had to spend $2,500, and you're putting another $1,000 into something else, your profit, money that hasn't already been spent, is $8,500. And then it does something really helpful for you. It tells you what your estimated taxes are. And if you spreadsheet nerd like myself, you'll see that there is a little calculation in here. You don't have to be awesome at calculations. It'll do it for you. But basically what it's doing is it's saying, all right, if there is under the initial deduction amount for taxes of $6,300, put a certain amount of tax on here. If it's over another amount, put a certain amount. Basically trying to really estimate how much money you have to put aside for taxes. And freelancers, that is extremely helpful information, especially because the more money we make, the more taxes we have to pay. So it tells us what our estimated tax is, and then it gives us a really awesome figure, which is how much money is left over for you. Money that comes in minus money you have to pay for your business, minus money that you're going to put aside once or twice a year, minus taxes equals how much you have left that is actually your money. Now, please note, we started with this person making $12,000 over the course of a year, but actually only bringing home, after everything that has to be spent, $870. And we even calculate your estimated monthly income. So while you might bring in $1,000 a month, what you actually have to spend after you've covered everything else is $764. Now, those are two different numbers, and they're really, really important to know the difference, because if you spend that whole $1,000, how are you going to pay your taxes? How are you going to cover your business costs or put into your retirement? So when we bring in a certain amount, we always have to think, no, wait, pause. Actually, what I've got left over is this whole other different amount. So this spreadsheet, sure, can help you figure out the current year. But what I think is even more helpful is that it can help you figure out what is going to happen next year if certain things come into play. And this can be super, you're trying to think through things like, all right, maybe I'm going to up my business. Maybe I want to expand. Maybe I want to think about advertising so I can bring in more money, et cetera, et cetera. I totally hear you. But we all know, mo money, mo problems, right? So say that you're like, I'm making $1,400 a month. And you think through, all right, 1,400 times 12 months, 16,800. Well, my business expenses might go up. Maybe I'll have $300 a month in expenses. So I have to hold back 3,600. Maybe I'm going to do the same thing with my retirement, 1,000. Cool. I've got 12,200 left. All right, my taxes have definitely gone up. And I look at what's left over afterwards, divide it by 12, and I'm like, okay, I bring home $942. Good to know. But say you're doing the really, really important and amazing work of trying to figure out how to actually work with more money. Say that you're in the position that many freelancers are of saying, I want to go from working part-time on my freelance to full-time on my freelance. how much money do I have to bring in as a freelancer in order to cover what I used to bring in when I was an employee? And that's where this kind of thing gets really, really helpful. So part of what you got to do is start thinking about bigger numbers. So we've got a couple other lines in here. You can plug in whatever you want. Say that you're like, all right, I'm going to imagine that I'm making $4,000 a month for my clients. So that 4,000 times 4 is 48,000. Cool. And say that you're like, all right, I think my expenses are going to be about, I don't know, $900 a month. I'm going to have to rent a studio. I have more things I have to deal with. I'm going to have to pay maybe a VA. I'm going to have to pay for more MailChimp or whatever. And say that you're like, I really want to like commit to my financial future. I want to max out my IRA. I want to put $5,500 aside into that. So I've got my 48 grand coming in, my $900 a month or 10,008 a year going out, my 5,500 a year going out for my IRA. What's left? 31,700. Now there's a real big difference in my taxes because I have crossed not one but two tax brackets, right? So when I'm making $4,000 a month, I have to put aside, $6,300 a year for taxes. No joke, right? I bring in $25,000 a year after tax, which means I'm bringing in $2,112 a month after taxes. So it gets expensive to run your own business really fast, which is why, my freelancer friends, we must always, always, always set our rates accordingly. So say that you're like, all right, I'm going to make $7,000 a month. $4,000 a month is like, oh, it's just not enough money for me. So cool, you just plug it in here. That means making $84,000 a year. Sounds like a lot of money, and it is. Money we have to spend money. So say you're like, all right, I might have to like rent a co-working space. It just gets more and more expensive. And say that you're like, all right, I'm gonna have to get like professional photos, and I'm gonna have to, along with filling in my IRA and maxing out my IRA, I'm gonna like also put into another retirement account, maybe like a self-employed plan or a solo IRA, and maybe I'm gonna do 100 for my personal Roth or something. Plus I want to be able to put in, I don't know, maybe another like $5,000 for my other retirement. Plus I'm probably going to have like, I'm going to get headshots. So maybe I've got $13,000 in expenses this year. So now I've got $58,000 in profit. Now my taxes are 20 grand. No joke amount of money, right? Because again, once we cross making $18,000 at all in our taxes, we are entering a no joke, this is expensive zone, right? But with all that, making $58,500 after all my expenses are paid, paying 20 grand in taxes, I'm still bringing in $37,620 a year, which means that I'm bringing in $3,135 a month, which is an okay amount of money. You can pay rent, you can save, you can do what you got to do. So my freelancer friends, to bring in to bring in $3,135 a month, you actually have to back up all the way. Think about retirement, think about your ongoing expenses, and actually bring in around 80 grand a year. And this is where it gets so, so helpful, and why I'm really, really glad to give this tool to all of you so that you can be really thinking about the money that you are bringing in. Because as we know, when we're freelancers, the money that comes in is not money that we have. So I am going to make sure that if you're live in the chat and in the YouTube video after this, you've got a link so you can directly download a copy of this calculator. But I am so glad to share it with you, because I know trying to make that freelance money work, I'm here to help. I'm Hadassah Damian from Ride Free Fearless Money. Freelancers, I'm one of you. Get in, get out, get back at what you're good at. I'll see you next time.